In my previous role, I was a sales coordinator for a lighting fixture company. I oversaw a sales team of 50 sales reps, and I helped assist in processing their orders and reviewing their orders. We ran across an issue where sales orders were not being entered the way that they should be for the warehouse and for reporting purposes, which led to a bit of a loss of revenue as well as extra man hours in the corporate office and warehouse trying to find the correct SKUs and ensure that deliverability was met. My challenge that I was presented with was how can we best resolve this? And what I proposed was that we offer sales trainings, mandatory sales trainings, and orders would not be processed unless those sales trainings were met by each sales rep. Meaning, I would hold a sales training and walk them through the process of placing an order, ensuring correct SKUs and lampshades were input, and I would also ensure that ship to addresses were correct, thus eliminating that extra step of man hours and the warehouse confirming that. What we presented was if a sales training was not met or was not adhered to, orders would not be processed until a sales training was met, thus hitting a little at the commission of the sales reps. And you would be shocked at how many of them made sure that they attended those meetings and offered as many follow-up questions, to which I had no problem answering. And so that was a very early challenge that we ran into. They were not used to, the new order processing, the forms that needed to be filled out. But once they got through that process and did it a couple times, everything went very smoothly. A time I failed. Early on in my previous role as a sales coordinator, or before my role as a sales coordinator, I was a customer service representative. And during one of those really heavy, busy days, I missed a custom order for a piece of furniture that needed to have a lead time of roughly 6 weeks. Luckily, I did not go past the week that I missed the order, but that still caused a delay, right? And so I had to ensure that I submitted the order, that I checked all the boxes, right? I called the manufacturing company and I said, hey, there was a mishap where this order was missed. I need to know what's the soonest I can get it if I submit it this day. Ensured that correct finishes were done and that shipping costs would not affect the revenue of our company as well as the pockets of the customer, right? There's nothing worse than the customer hearing, well, your order was delayed a week and had to be expedited, and that adds to the cost that they're already putting up. So while I avoided all of that, I did have to navigate a very tough conversation with the sales rep and the customer, ensuring them that while there was a delay in processing the order, there would not be a delay in the processing time that the piece was being made. And so I failed because I didn't do my due diligence of ensuring that every day orders that came in were submitted that same day. But I was very pleased with how I handled that. Handled a very tough conversation with the customer and with the sales rep, ensuring that the quality and that the processing time would not affect their deadlines for an install. Again, speaking to my previous role, I think that the best way that I demonstrated leadership was in ensuring that ensuring that those sales trainings were met. As a sales coordinator, my role is the mediator between the manufacturing company and the sales reps. And so I understood that the sales reps, get paid on commission, and the more orders that they're processing, the bigger their commission check is going to be, right? And so if orders are not being input correctly directly from the source, that affects the manufacturer, that affects the management agency, which is where I worked at. And yes, the reps would still get paid, but there would be a loss in commission for us as a sales agency, and there would be a loss of revenue from the company because they would have to expedite, or they would use extra man hours to reach out to the customer to see if the SKU is correct, reach out to the delivered to address and ensure that that was correct. So in enforcing those sales trainings, having those tough conversations with my own leadership and saying, look, we need to get this point across that you want to get paid, you need to attend these sales trainings so that you are very much aware of how things need to be entered in to ensure that you get paid properly, to ensure that your customer is satisfied with the piece that they ordered, the lighting fixtures, the installs, the extra shipping and handling that needs to be added to ensure that a chandelier gets to the final destination in one piece. And there was a lot of disgruntled sales reps who did not think that the sales training was necessary, but in enforcing that, they knew what the expectation was. If an order was entered incorrectly but shipped to as it was on the sales order, that was no longer on the sales agency or on the manufacturer. That would go back to the rep, and the rep would have to take that commission cut. And so they knew that they had to do their due diligence just like we did our due diligence. And so I think my leadership was a little questionable in the beginning of my how I was implementing things, but in the end they saw that, for one, the warehouse hours were being cut, and the commissions were not affecting us, they were affecting the sales reps who had to do their part. And so I think I did a really good job at handling that.